Hi, this is Dan Sullivan. I'd like to welcome you to the Multiplier Mindset Podcast. Today's Free Zone Transformation success story is Chris Johnson. You know, as a coach, I've coached entrepreneurs since 1974, so I'm just about a half century of coaching entrepreneurs. And every once in a while, you just meet someone who's not in coach, but is thinking about coach. I can hear something going off in my head, and it's like, bingo! And I met Chris in Santa Monica for a Abundance 360 meeting, and we had a intro presentation for anyone who is in the LA area. But Chris is from near Sacramento, just south of Sacramento, which is a long hike from Santa Monica. And afterwards, he came up, he says, do you mind if we talk? And I talked, probably about 45, 50 minutes with him. And check. And I could just feel it. I could just feel, that we were made for each other. And since then, it's been unbelievable. In just one of his companies, which was 4 people before the lockdown, is now 42 people, and he's growing at over 3,000% per year. He expects within a very short period of time to be up to 800 people in his business. He has 2 businesses, and I'll just mention a little bit about his second business, and that is he has a automatic ramen maker, the noodle maker. And he went on Shark Tank to get financed and everything like that. So he tells a great story about that. But his main business is just pure free zone. And what it is, he finds really, really talented, specialized people for construction engineering companies across the United States. And the way he does it is that they do it on subscription, which is just such a genius. So they have to accept that he's going to be part of their internal decision making. So he's almost like he says, well, I'm going to be part of your decision making process of what kind of talent you need on the inside. So he says, we're not on the outside serving you. We're part of your team. We're part of your capability. We're a who inside your company that can find you the who's that are just perfect for your growth.
I'm Chris Johnson. I'm the CEO of the Johnson Group, a corporate recruiting company specializing in architecture and engineering and construction. And then I also am CEO and founder of Rapid Brands, a consumer products company. I was featured on Shark Tank and have products all across the world. In Canada, they call it Dragon's Den. And it probably was one of the scariest days of my life, but it turned out to be one of the most rewarding. I remember the day I became an entrepreneur. So I was a really big time basketball player. I was heavily recruited basketball player in high school. And I remember on my 16th birthday, I had a party and my dad allowed me to have it in the garage. And, I invited the school and so many people came. It was filled up really quick. And I was like, okay, I'm running out of space. And so I said, you know what? I'm actually going to charge for admission to get in. And so I went to the front of the house and I yelled. There's just so many people in the street. And I said, it now costs $5 to get in. If you have your $5, please put it in the air and walk to the front. And people started walking to the front with their money in the air. And I was grabbing the $5 bills and letting people in. And it was the first time I had an experience of love like I love for basketball. I was like, this entrepreneurship is amazing. So that was my first experience. And it really kicked off this path of entrepreneurship that just has been so rewarding, exciting, painful at times, but rewarding beyond reproach. So running 2 companies can be tough, especially when both are growing. One of the things Dan says is one of them feeds you and one of them eats you. And I tend to have that going on right now. I'm really blessed and fortunate. Both companies are doing well. Both are profitable. But one is self-managing and self-multiplying, and one is not. And so one, I'm still wearing so many different hats, and that's Rapid Brands. I'm the director of marketing. I'm the director of sales. And so I'm still working to get those hats off because it's not self-managing. It takes a lot of my energy. On the flip side, the Johnson Group. So it's a corporate recruiting company. And what I did is I created an innovative model in which instead of the traditional recruiting process where I provide you a candidate, you provide me 25% of annual salary, you provide a check for 25 grand, here's your candidate, there's the cash, thank you, is very transactional. And that's typically the traditional model. I said there has to be a better way. And what we did is we created a service where we provide a corporate recruiter to a client that is a direct extension of their HR department. And we learn their culture. We recruit on their positions. We could recruit faster and fill the placements faster without any transactional fees. And they just pay us on a monthly basis as if they hired us internally. And that model has absolutely exploded. We are growing at 3,100% and still counting. It has been beyond my wildest imagination. And I have fully strategic coached that business. It's self-multiplying. We have EOS fully involved, and we grew from 4 to 42 people within a year. We'll be over 800 people by the end of 2022. It is just on wildfire, and it's been super exciting as far as that growth. And now I'm in the same part of what Rapid Brands, taking that operational excellence and adding that growth as well to have the same success. It's been just a tremendous road and a tremendous blessing. I think one of the biggest game changers that have been instrumental in our growth, the book, Who Not How, what I see a lot of entrepreneurs get the concept of who not how, but you have to how to get the who's, and I was like, man, what if I had a who finder? And so I started to impact filter this type of role that I want of this who finder. And I called it my director of project execution. And I make it up. He makes it real and makes it happen. And so he has a total of like 18 fast filters right now, and they are all on our growth. And I think one of the biggest parts of our growth is that I fully embrace the who, not how, of understanding that vision is my contribution. And so that was different than my psychology of how to build businesses. Initially, it was hustle. You got to grind, and that is not the game. It's a people game. The organizations that have the best people with the best performance management system, with high incentives for that growth and providing a clear direction, wins. And having Matt, my director of project execution, be able to take the ideas and the vision that I have and go execute it and provide updates on that daily execution has been instrumental. That allows us to continue to grow at a fast pace, along with the other amazing people that we have on our leadership team in our entire organization. So a self-managing company, what that means to me is that that company can continue to produce without your presence. That you can go on vacation for weeks on weeks, and every person that you have in place, all the operations, the sales, everything continues to happen with or without your presence. That's having a self-managing company. And so it takes a lot of work to get that. One of the things that I did to do that, I wrote down, I took an audit of all the things that I was doing in my business. And I started to hire for those functions. So it's almost putting yourself out of a job. That's getting you to self-managing. And it's awesome because, I wanted to transition from was being an owner-operator to owner, visionary, and creator of opportunities. And so when you're doing that and you're building that self-managing company and you're hiring for those different skill sets that you are doing and things that you probably even shouldn't be doing, it allows you to create opportunities for other people. And so that's where it's self-managing. And what I also created was like this self-managing dashboard. And so it had all those functions, and it was green when I finally had someone to take over that role, where I passed that baton and they took it. And then it's red where I'm still doing that work. And so for both companies, I had an audit of how quickly it's self-managing, right? And it continues to evolve. But the bigger piece that is really exciting for entrepreneurs is after you get it self-managing, is having it self-multiply. That is where it's next level. Without your presence, the company can also grow. It can actually add additional sales. The sales machine is going. The operational machine is taking care of all the operations. The hiring, internal hiring is happening without you. When you come back, sales went up here. Your headcount went up here. Operational excellence went up here. Promotions went up here. That's a self-multiplying company. And you cannot self-multiply until you have the self-management. And so I think that has been a game changer for me. And it increases my happiness as an entrepreneur because that vision is valuable. Oh my gosh, the vision is valuable. And that's my unique ability. Where on my other company, even though we're doing well, I don't have as much joy and satisfaction because I'm not in my unique ability. I can't be in my unique ability of just vision when I have to make all these sales calls and I got to close this big deal and I got to do this innovation. I got to make sure this container gets in. Fortunately, I don't have to do that anymore because I have this guy, Young Ming, who's incredible. But my joy, I can tell my joy is less when I'm doing so much and being that rugged entrepreneur. And so I have to execute the plan in this to get the joy of being in my unique ability and being able to have more free days of my time and be able to take the companies to the next level. So that's what self-managing and self-multiplying means to me. You know, what I would say to entrepreneurs that are, struggling of doing everything, stressed out, the company that they built and is trying to run is running them. The things that I would tell them, number one, I start in a place of gratitude because the affliction and the challenges are going to come. You can set your watch to it. Today's not going to be a perfect day, but you can have a perfect perspective. And here's how I get into that. Like every single day, I get a workout in, I meditate, and it's up for 3 minutes. And when I meditate, for those that don't meditate, just visualize the things that you're excited about being in your life. Just go watch the picture. If I were to tell you right now, don't think of a big purple elephant. You cannot do that. Your mind sees it. So why not see the outcomes in your mind and just sit in a quiet place for 3 minutes of the outcome? And so I do that every single day. And then I say a prayer and I give thanks for all the stuff that's going on in my life. When I get to my office, I write down what's going right. And I just write down what's going right. I look at all the positives. And what I write as far as what's going right is I put it in my blessing list. And so I've been keeping a blessing list since 2008. In 2021, I was 1,030 blessings up from 883 in 2020. Okay. And so in 2022, I'm already at 173 blessings. So after I do that, I call things that are not as though they were. So I'm talking those things that, yes, I'm so excited. It was such an awesome party that we celebrated hitting the 50 million mark. It was so amazing. I'm talking as they were, not as what I hoped them to be. So after I'm done with that, my mindset and my joy and my expectation is so high that when the afflictions come, they can't even reach it. So imagine how I can take on challenges in the day because they're going to come. But I'm too filled with expectation and gratitude and joy. And so when I'm in that entrepreneur state, it took work to get it to being self-managing. And after you're in that state, it's just one at a time. Okay, you know what? I shouldn't be processing these invoices and collections. Let me hire an AR person and train them, hand off the baton, set the KPIs and the daily updates, and boom, that's handed off. That's a success. then you go to the next one, and you continue to add these people. And one of the biggest myths, I'm going to mention this for a lot of entrepreneurs. I think this will help a lot of entrepreneurs. There's a fear of paying someone else money of things that they can do. That myth is so foolish that I cannot even emphasize. The money spent on someone that is taking a task off your plate is exponential. It's exponential for the growth of the company of doing that, and the time that it gives you back to do something premium that puts the company forward. So that would be my advice to entrepreneurs that are in that stage where you're feeling stressed out. You're feeling like, okay, I could see myself getting there. I don't know how. Number one is you have to have your mind right. Entrepreneurship is tough. And you want to make sure that you have a mindset that you can handle the daily ebbs and flows of the business. And then once you do that, you can see clearly of how to get to your North Star. You know, I've been in strategic coach, I want to say 3 or 4 years, maybe 3 years. It's been absolutely transformational. And for many reasons. Fortunately, I went to UC Davis. I went to Harvard Business School. And, you know, got some great education on building companies. But you know what was missing is the tying in of the purpose of why I started a business in the first place, which was to have freedom of time, be able to have freedom of money and freedom of relationship with, you know, as far as being able to do that. And at times you have some freedom of money because you worked really, really hard, but then you don't have the time. You can't really go spend the time with people because your business is basically, you're serving the business versus the whole output of you are having this business to create all these freedoms. And strategic coach really got me when it came to the who, not how. Like I got that immediately. I was referred by Chupa Torres, and I was blown away by the concept that getting back to the joy and the happiness of why I created this business. Since being a coach, it has transformed my mindset on what's possible, how to get there, in the perspective, also the way that you get there, instead of it all being my work, that it is okay for me to go on vacation without guilt. Go to my son's basketball tournament without guilt, right? That vision and creating opportunities is my contribution. So it has been transformational. Increase in success, increase in wealth, increase in time, increase in joy, you know, from the signature program and 10X and the relationships that I have built. It has been absolutely transformational.
I have a lot of pleasure. We're very successful in Coach. We're growing. We're having our best growth years because of our move to virtual. And Chris is just a perfect example because Chris has never been to an in-person workshop, you know, and I don't know if he's planning to, you know, as we go into the future, but his entire history, signature program. And then as soon as he could, he jumped up to 10 times. After he listens to what I say here, he'll spend 4 workshops in 10 times and he'll jump to the free zone. And everybody in free zone is going to have to hold on to their hats when Chris joins them. So just is such a wonderful pleasure being able to do a little wraparound on Chris's story that he gave. I love this guy.